Hi class, this is a short video on getting started with replit. Here I'm sharing my screen. You can see that I'm at replit.com. I am logged into my account and replit is easy. It's so convenient. One of the huge advantages is that it is an online IDE, meaning your code is accessible anywhere you want and on any device that you have. This is such an advantage at times because you might need your code at school or at work or at home. And you don't want to lug your laptop around that's got all of your original code. Replit is really versatile. It's got a bunch of programming languages. I have used it extensively with Python and C++. And we'll go over how to create a Python program in Replit in this short video. Excuse me. When you open Replit, we get this starting screen here. You can see there's just a lot of kind of social media type stuff, things that are trending and things that are following. But if you over here in the navigation window, if you click on My REPLs, that'll bring you up with a list here of all of the REPLs that you have. Now remember that the term REPL, R-E-P-L, is a term that applies to one software project. You'll have one REPL for every program that you write. And the way that we'll run REPLs in my class is that you'll submit the link, of course, stop working on it. If I see that you've been working on it past the deadline, well, I'll have to roll back your code to the last version right before the deadline. So don't play that game. Once the deadline's done, then stop working on your REPL. If you want to keep working on it, I'll show you in a minute how to fork or copy your REPL so you can keep working on it. Meanwhile, the original REPL is preserved for me to grade. Here in our list of REPLs, you'll see everything that there is. Now, the main difference between yours and mine is that I have a paid account. And you might want to consider getting a paid account for yourself because Replit is pretty widespread in its use. It's certainly versatile. It's powerful. It supports multi-file projects, and the big thing about subscribing is that you can then create private REPLs. If you have a free account, by default, all of your REPLs are public. So if anyone kind of has your username here, they can kind of go through and look at your REPLs. And so you'll want to keep your username protected, unless, of course, you go to the paid account. And it's really cheap. I forget what it is. Really cheap. Then you can create both private and public. So I've got a few that are here, private and public. Like here is, all of these are public, but you can see here some midterms from the summer semester of ones that I forked. So that's the listing of REPLs. To create one, quite easy. You have a number of options. You can click on Create here, this Create button to the left. Or on the home screen, you can just click this Create button right here to open up any previous version. You just simply click on that. I'll open up my REPLs here, and here's a little bit of sample code, little Hello World program. I can click on that, and it opens up, and we get a typical IDE layout here. The left side is some type of a file navigator, and ours is no different. The middle panel is our editor window, and then the right panel is going to be our terminal where we interact with our program. Here is just a super quick Hello World program. I coded it. This is in C++. And to run it, you guessed it, just press the big Run button. And here's the output over here, Hello World. And if for any reason you ever need to interrupt the console, maybe it's hanging, maybe you're in an infinite loop, maybe it's just simply frozen. If you use Control-C or Command-C, that will interrupt the kernel here and restart that and get its attention to straighten up again. You can click on the hamburger icon here to go back home if you'd like. And now let's create a REPL here. I'm going to press on Create here. This gives us a bunch of options. You can see all of these supported programming languages here, not just C++ and Python, but HTML, cascading style sheets, JavaScript, Node, Java, C#, PHP, a lot of stuff. I'll just click on Python. And over here in the title of this REPL, it will auto-populate 3 random nouns as just a starting point for a file name. Don't use that. Instead, start yours with 240- just to show that this is a code a project that is in comp sci 240, and it'll also then let you very neatly arrange these things. So I'll do 240 test here. By default, it'll be public. If you get that paid account, you can select private if you'd like, so that's one is protected, and then just click on Create REPL. It whirs and purrs for a minute, and then we get the interface up, and here it is. Now, over here in our file navigator, you can see that the project automatically created a main.py file for us. This is great. So all we have to do here is put some Python code, something like that, something simple. Let's click run, and there is our answer. Now, one shortcut to the run button, again, just to make us a little faster in our coding, is Control Enter. Control Enter will run our code here. I just created another variable. Oh, let me zoom in a little bit here, just to make it a little easier. I created another variable here, and I'm going to print that. And rather than printing or pressing that big giant green play button, this time I'll just do Control Enter, and you can see over there in the console that that all of these statements were successfully run. To get a little more real estate, I'll take my browser bookmarks down. So that's essentially the gist of it. Now, when it comes time for us to have multi-file projects, maybe we split up our code into modules, or maybe we have a data file, or we've got some other configuration file. We can just easily create our new files over here in the file manager. If you click on plus, that will create a new file. Here's another one just called main2, and I'll run that. And this is Python will only run main.py. You probably want to rename this something if you want to save it. You can click on the stacked dots, and you get a little submenu. You can do rename, delete, whatever you'd like. So I'll rename this to just, how about, let's say we've got a data file that we wanted to use, and there's some data in that file. Now, Replit will auto-save everything. You don't necessarily need to hit Control S all the time. It does a good job saving in and of itself. If you want to delete a file, just go to that submenu. There's delete. If you, for some reason, need to download a file, you can just simply download it. There's our download. Duplicate, copy link, you get the idea there. So this is a very versatile system. You'll love it. Getting the hang of it's quite easy. Now here's the process to follow when it's time to submit your code as an assignment. Now the temptation is going to be for you to just copy the URL here in the browser's address bar and submit that as your code. And I'll tell you many times at the beginning of the semester, don't do that. Because that will open, I'll see your code, but it'll open up a different interface, and it'll open up a non-collaborative interface. I want us to be able to collaborate on your code. So if you're having trouble, I can go in, look at it, and put comments in where I see the problems. We can also collaborate live on code. Perhaps you and I are both editing at the same time, and you can kind of see where the other person is editing. You can sort of text each other by putting comments in your code and whatnot. If you're having trouble, we can easily hop on a Zoom, audio only, so we can talk live, and then we can both hop on REPL and edit your code live, and it just makes a terrific learning experience. So the way that you submit that URL, again, is not copying the address in the address bar. Instead, we're going to go over to here, the invite button. Click once on invite. I will scroll down a little bit. Excuse me, I don't know why my throat's all croaky this morning. We get this invite dialog box that comes up. And we won't need to use this top part. You don't need to know anyone's username or my email or anything. Instead, just here at the bottom, we will click on generate a join link. And you can see here that some type of a link was created. You can then create a new link. You can also click this button here and it'll copy that link to the clipboard. And it's that link that you'll paste into the submission window, the little URL box. That's what you'll paste in. The way you know it's the correct one is that this URL contains the word join, J-O-I-N, and that's your code to know that you are inviting me to collaborate with you on this code. If your URL does not have the word join in it, then you know it's the wrong one. Like this URL up here, it does not have join anywhere in it, and it's the wrong thing to submit. So that will be how you submit code here. And I think this is probably enough to get started. You can create other folders here. You can download the entire project as a zip file. Very, very convenient and very, very versatile function. So I hope that this helps getting started with our replit and using Python REPLs. And we'll see you online. Good luck, everybody.